Hello guys, welcome back. So in this tutorial video, we'll continue from where we stopped in our last video on data normalization. Today we'll be looking at the second rule of data normalization that states that every column describing another column should not be in that column. So that is what we're doing today, trying to split columns into different tables. Don't worry, when we're looking at data modeling, I'll explain better what this splitting is all about. But today, we're just looking at that second rule of data normalization and how it affects our work.
We have a table here containing details about the orders placed, the customer, their names, category of products that is being sold, the amount the product has been sold for, the quantity, the order date, the region. We have them here. Okay, so going by the second rule of data normalization, which states that every column that is describing another column in the table should not be in that same column. What do I mean? We have order ID, we have customer ID. You will notice that customer name is describing the customer ID. Everyone has a unique ID. If you go to school, we all have matric numbers, which is unique to us. We can have two Ibrahim Blessings in a school, but would both have unique IDs that is unique to both of us. The other Ibrahim Blessing would have her own matric number. I would have my own matric number. So that means a customer can be John Doe. We can have two customers being John Doe, but we have IDs that separates them, that differentiates them. This customer name is describing this customer ID. We have product ID. It's saying P001. The product name of this P001 is widget A. P002 is widget B. P003 is widget C. Regardless of the number of times they appeared, we can see the name describing that product ID. Same thing for category. I said, okay, widget A belongs to the gadget category. Widget C belongs to the tools category. Then we have the sales amount and quantity. Then we have the order dates, and so in a situation like this, we have the customer name describing the customer ID, and we have the product name and the category describing the product ID. Following that second rule of data normalization, we have to remove all columns that is describing a column on the main table into another table. So to do that, I'm just going to rename this. Let me rename this staging orders. Just give it staging orders. So for me to do this, I'm going to right click. Remember how I told us how to either duplicate or reference when we just started the Power Query? So let's use reference. I'll click on reference. Then we have this. It means that if I should do anything on these first staging orders, it will affect this staging orders too. What I want to do, I want to create a table which is going to be a dimension table for customers, because we can see that the customer name is describing this customer ID. What we want to do here is just to split this particular table here into dimensions and fact table. So what are fact tables? Fact tables are tables that contain facts. They contain measures of our data. There is numerical data of our data, and they also contain unique identifiers of the dimension tables. But this time around, you can see them as foreign keys. For the dimension tables, these are the tables that are describing the fact table. They describe the fact table. So looking at this one we've referenced, all I want to do, since I know that the customer name here is describing the customer ID, so I'm going to just I would have a table separately to describe customers. So to do this, I'll come here and I'll name this dim customers. I'll hit enter. Then what do I want to do? I want to choose column. So here in my home tab, in the manage columns group, I'll click on the drop down button beside choose column command here, and I'll select choose column. Then this pops up and I have to select the columns I want. So I'll uncheck select all, then I'll check the column ID and I'll check the customer name. Then I'll click on OK. So I have this. So one thing you should know now you can see this is containing the details about customers, the ID and their name, which is telling us more. We've not created our fact table yet, but once you create it, you'll see what I'm trying to explain. So one thing you should know that in a dimension table, you should not have duplicate. You should not have duplicate IDs in your dimension table. And we're going to remove all the duplicates in this customer ID. Select it, right click and say remove duplicates, or you can get to the options at any of the tabs there. So I'll click remove duplicates. So you can see now we have just C001, C002, C003. So let's go back and first be sure that these are the only names that we have. So we have John Doe, Jane Smith, Sam Brown, John Doe, Jane Smith, Sam Brown, same person, just 3 persons over and over again. So these are the 3 persons that have been patronizing, that have been purchasing those products. Can you see? So let's just use remove duplicates. So with the dimension table now, it's just describing the number of times these people came to purchase this product and the days they came to purchase the product. The next thing I'm going to look at, the next columns that are describing another column is the product name describing the product ID, and yes, product name, product ID, then the category. So I'll just go back, right click, then I'm going to reference this. Same thing here, then I would rename this to be dim product. I'll hit enter. So what do I want to do? I want to only select all the columns that is talking about the product. So I'll check all, and I'll check product ID, product name, the product category. I think I'm okay. Then I'll hit okay. Remember I said you don't need duplicate. Duplicate should not be in your ID column. So I'll right click and I'll remove the duplicates. So can you see now we just have P001, P002, P003, they belong to this, and it describes this product. The product ID, product name describes the product ID. Then the category is also telling us where the product fall or is being categorized into. Very good. So you can see your dimension tables. You don't need too much. You don't need duplicates there. It only contains the important information that you need. It is on the fact table that you get to see repetitions of those values, repetitions of the names, repetitions of IDs, telling us the number of times they came to purchase, the number of times they came to place orders. So we are good with this one. Let's go back to our. Do we have any other column describing? So I think just customer name, the product. So these are our measures. So we're not creating dimension table for them. Then region. So we don't have something like region ID or anything thinking about region aside this column. So I'll just leave this column the way it is. I'll leave it the way it is, or let's just leave it the way it is. Let's leave it the way it is now. Okay. So what do I want to do again? I want to create a fact table this time around now. So I'll right click, then reference, and I want to create my fact table. So I'll rename this fact table. You can give it orders fact table. I'll hit enter. Order fact table. What do I want to come here to choose column? What I want to choose now, I would uncheck all. So note, when you are checking, you want to select all the columns that should be in your fact table. Include the IDs of those dimension tables. I mean the IDs for customer and for product. It's going to serve as a foreign key, a key that will be connecting both dimension table to the fact table. So I'll check order ID, check customer ID. I won't check customer name because we now have a table that is describing the customer ID. I'll check product ID and I'll check the sales amount, all the measures, the quantity, the order date, and the region, and I'll hit OK. Can you see? So you can see customer ID here. So you can see here this customer C001 came to purchase on this particular date in the north region. This person with the ID 002 purchased this particular product for this amount. The quantity is this, and on this date in the south. You get to see the number of times they came to purchase. You get to see the kind of product they purchased, the amount they paid, the quantity they purchased, and the date they came to. When you come to this dim customer, it describes the customer. It tells us, okay, this is Looking at the fact table, it tells us that customer ID 001 came to purchase this product. We are saying, okay, who is this customer? Then going back to my dim customer, I get to see that, okay, John Doe is the one with the customer ID C001. Okay, if John Doe purchased this product P001, what is the product? So I go to my dim products table and I get to see the product. Oh, P001 is with Get A. He purchased this particular product with Get A, and the product belongs to this category, that Get. Very easy, very simple, right? So when we are dealing with, well, in our next in videos that will be coming next after this one, not maybe 2-3 videos after this one, would see, I would describe some terms on entities, attributes, foreign keys, primary keys. We would understand those concepts well when we are dealing with data modeling. I will explain it very, very well. I'm just trying to explain the second rule of data normalization, that any column describing another column should not be in the same table. They should have a separate table. So this is how we splitted the data. We split these staging orders now into dim for customers, dim for product, and the fact table. So one thing you should know, that the fact table duplicates are allowed. You are allowed to have duplicates in your fact table, because this shows the record, number of times that customers they come in to purchase the products, they come in, the number of products they place, and it will show the number of times. But for dim, the dimension table should only describe the customers, where they stay. Sometimes we contain the address, contain the phone number of the customer. So the one we formed here is based on the data that we have here. Very, very easy. So I'm going to load this. I'll save this. So close and load. I want to close and load it into Microsoft Excel, and we'll have it. So we have this here, right? So the next thing I'm going to show us, so we have, you can see, I want to show us something. And if I want to edit, I want to go back to Power Query. All I have to do, you can see when I hover around, I get to see, you see this option when you hover around. So just hover around this and I would come here and click on edit, so to take me back to my Power Query editor. So it's always advisable that you also have a dimension table for date. So that you can have other attributes describing the date, such as the date, the year of the date, the month, the day, the start of the week, and the likes. So let's do for dates. So I'll reference this. I'll reference this again, and this time around I'm going to name it dim dates or dim calendar. Let's use dim calendar. I just want to show us, but this is not the proper way you should generate your date. So let's look at it. Dim calendar. Then what do you want to do? I want to choose column. Then I would waiting for it to, yes, uncheck select all, and I only check for order dates. Then I'll hit OK. So I have this. So for me to populate other columns for the year, the month, all I have to do then come to selecting this column, come to add column, and you see the option under from date and time group. You see the command for date. Click on the drop down button and you see other options. So I want to generate the year from these other dates. I'll click on year. It will extract the year. Come here again, and I'll come back here and say, okay, I want not the year now, I want the month. When you select month, it brings the month number. 1 represents January, 2 represents February, 3 represents March, like that. Then you must always come back to select that column. I want to generate the month name. So I'll come here and say name of month. It gives me the name of the month. Same thing, if I want to get quarter, you go to quarter and see quarter of the year. If I want week, say start of the week. Other options. If you want day, come here, you can see day. Do you want the day of the week or name of the day? Anyone. So very, very easy. Although there's a way you would generate the date when you want to create a dimension for calendar. There's a way that you use your DAX function to do that. We'll be doing that very, very soon. Or you use your M language to generate your date at the back end of that is in Power Query. Very, very easy, right? So very, very simple. So I can just go back to my home tab, then close and load it in. I'll have, you can see theme calendar. Very, very easy. Very, very easy. Not hard. All right. We'll see in our next video. We'll be looking at the overview of Power Pivot. That's the next thing we're looking at. Do well to practice. It's very, very, very key. Don't just watch and leave it at that. Practice. Bye.